Hello and welcome back to Timber and Stone. Today we will be finishing up the last major building attached to the shipyard and dry dock area. This is the shipwrights building. I've been working a bit on the foundation because I want to cover some of this real time for you guys and also talk about the plans for the future. So this is going to be, I don't think too much of a sped up video. We might do a skip, but for now, we're just going to start building on the shipwright. So the shipwright has a lower floor already kind of constructed down here. And basically all this is a pattern floor with a very large gate. Because in my mind, the carpenter will be making these items, right? But their building isn't really big enough to store a lot of the larger ship parts. And so that's what this lower floor is for. Now, we don't have any decorative ship parts to necessarily put down here, but what we do and can use it as is storage. And the main reason for that is simply we need more of it. We don't really want to build any more barns. So what we're doing is simply, one, killing a spider. Two, we are simply going in and using a lot of our storage space at the lower floor of some of these items. We don't want many barns. We have one by the dock because it kind of makes sense to have one, and we might have one out at the farmland once we get that far. But right now, the lower floor of most buildings is going to be storage because that's about the only place we can put it. Let's build some terrain. Some grass. This is going to be a pretty straightforward building if you think about it. We just need a few walls. Possibly we'll have a interaction with the road. That is always a good thing to do. We need to raise up the front of this using, what brick should we use for the front? Let's use, should we just use normal stone? Something a little bit more plain looking might look cool. And then we can raise up the wood logs just by 2 here. And great stone by 1 and move that over so we can kind of put in a roofing tile as a somewhat decorative staircase. Sadly, don't really have staircases in timber and stone. That's something I really wish they would add eventually, but as we all know, the production of this game is basically gone. It just wasn't feasible for them to continue simply because they weren't really making enough money, and that's fine. I can sympathize with that a lot, but I would really like more and more because this game has a lot of potential, just like Stonehearth. And Stonehearth is a good game as well if you want to scratch the itch that this one does, and this one is maybe getting a little old for you, though it still has some great mechanics to it, for sure. And maybe some more optimization is needed. Alright, what we got here? We need to build some walls for this item, and we would like to use a different brick than maybe some other ones. We've already used field stone, but I think if we use it in combination with something else, it'll look cool. So we're going to use these like pillars of field stone up on these, and we're just going to use them a bit just near these wooden supports, and that's going to make the building look a lot more sturdy. It'll also prevent windows from being placed in these exact locations, which I think will be nice to have a building with a little less window space because it is a little bit more utilitarian than most. And then in the everywhere else kind of area, we will use, I guess, plaster. Just some timber plaster here. I think that would be cool. Kind of mix these two colors together. And we get to just drag this all the way up. It'll be a nice, quick kind of process, I think. 2, 3. And then we need some wooden logs for some columns, just here and there in the designated areas that they need to be in the corners and the port areas. We need a door for this. So objects, doors, and we will use... let's use the brace door. Something a little bit more heavy. Actually, which is more expensive? A studded door? Yeah, this is kind of the blueprint headquarters here, and I think we should have this to be a little bit more sturdy. And also, this one's going to have a third floor. Unlike most of these, you know, we want to go up and increase the height by another level. I think the best place to do that might be just here. You know, just make this staircase wrap all the way around. So we need some fieldstone. And just like so, you can have yourself a little staircase. It'll also help with construction, just to get people up there a little bit easier. And it doesn't really block off this door by any means. You know, it does create a little bit of a gap here, but I'm fine with it. Actually, no, I'm not fine with it. Sometimes you just gotta keep thinking about it, and it may not work out for you. And then really just this left section is going to be a third floor. This one's going to remain a first floor. This is going to have some large tables, or first ones really, because this needs to be a meeting hall with all the plans and shipwright kind of tools and equipment here. We have a trader making his way into town now, which is pretty nice. I don't really want to trade anything at this very moment, though. I think just putting it back there in the corner would be just fine. I think that's fine. Nope. Please do not trade with me anymore. And we can hit it up to double speed so we can see this get constructed a little bit quicker. Oh my goodness. The spiders are just everlasting here in the wonderful town of Astronar. Yes, I believe that's the name of our town, right? Astronar's been so long. We're on day 122, and it's been a long build process. This is going a little slow. Well, latency is also becoming a little bit of an issue just due to all the blocks and people we have. But if you take a look at everything, I'm really happy with how it's all coming together. And it's simply interesting going straight into a very large and complex town. Usually we do start with more of the, oh, here's a little farmland, here's a little storage barn, and then you establish a castle, and then you build a town around the castle, and you surround it with a wall, and that's nice. You know, you can do that. That's actually a really good way to play the game, because there's a little bit of a sense of progression. This one is going to be a lot more impressive. It's also going to be very cohesive, because we're building all this kind of at the same time and laying it all out, and it's all going to be touching and interacting with itself throughout the many layers. And I think that's going to hopefully create a really cool effect. It's also creating a bunch of height values. So we have a bunch of low kind of buildings, and then get slightly taller, and then slightly taller again, and then we're getting another tall building over here. There'll be cranes eventually. We'll even get some larger buildings on the left side, because the left side we want kind of this naval fortification of some kind, academy maybe, and this is kind of the main defensive side of the port town itself, keeping it safe from possible enemy ships. Granted, we don't actually have to worry about that, but it would be cool to think of like that. The actual rest of the town, beyond just what we have laid out here in this grid system, is going to be raised up on a new plane about 3 blocks or 2 blocks higher than everything else, and that's going to be a bunch of civics buildings, from like churches to schools to maybe some higher end shops, maybe some higher end homes. You get your town hall there. You're going to get your castle. I think the castle is going to be on the top right corner, kind of close to the river, because castles can be built along rivers as a natural moat, but also as a good escape plan. You know, if the castle's going to fall, you might want a way out of that castle. This is something to keep in mind. Okay, let's dig these sections out. This one will just be a double window like that. And there you go. We're going to have to turn it on double speed again, even though we'll probably lag, but it's definitely worth it. And I do like using these wood logs as the dividing kind of pillar for the upper floors. So we can just drag that out all the way over here and here and here and here. And this will create the upper office area. This is where the actual main shipwright would work, essentially. That's what I want, this upper area. This is more like the grunt, kind of other draftsmen, or just other people that work in the area in general. And you can see these walls, they look good, but I think we can do better. So we're gonna put some actual wooden pillars here, just along there, just to make it look a little bit more refined, you know, because these guys are kind of master craftsmen. So you do want some high quality buildings, mixtures of other kind of materials and textures throughout the whole thing. It's gonna look pretty good if you do something like that, I think. But it is one of those things here in Timber and Stone that we just kind of keep trying, and it's a trial and error process. All right, now this roof line itself, we can either keep the fieldstone, which I think I'll do, the fieldstone kind of process up there, and we'll make just a simple peak. If not, maybe slightly rounded. I don't know. Yeah, we'll use a red kind of ceramic roof here because it's a little bit more of an important building. And those red roofing tiles are very noticeable from a distance. Back off, trader. I don't want anything that you're selling. Go home. I want nothing to do with you. Let's just move him out of the town hall and see if that fixes it. Perfect. And it is becoming dusk here on day 22. A lot of progress being made, and I do like this studded door. It has a lot of those rivets in it, some actual metal kind of motifs around it. Definitely different than, say, just a timber door over here. I don't think I've built a brace door anywhere. Have I? I think this is just the normal brace door. So we are getting some variety. I'm just saving real quick there. And we're coming up to the 15-minute mark. Do I want something interacting with this little pathway down there? I think so. Something covering that. You know, you always want something interacting with the path just a little bit. We did cover that in the Planet Coaster tutorial video, and a lot of these same methods apply here. We just don't have the ability to necessarily gray box everything out, but we can rough things out using shapes and then just add detail, remove walls, rebuild sections, and then you have a good kind of workflow. Are you shooting a spider? You good? You better be good. Alright, so we're approaching about 15 minutes, and plus it's becoming nighttime, and nighttime's not great for recording this game. It gets pretty dark, and YouTube does not compress dark videos very well. So we're going to go ahead and be back once this is hopefully either daytime or the building is constructed, whichever comes first. Alright, so it looks like we're going to get some combat after all this episode. It seems like there might be some goblins finally making their way yet again for wave number 2. These guys are relentless at this stage, and they seem to come about every 4 to 5 days in game. And as we, increase our defenses and become more it gets centralized, you could say, and less spread out. They become a little bit less of a problem. However, of course, if we do decide to split up our militia from our military main force, again, we do run the risk of losing a few citizens, and that's not something we want to do at all. Caesar, where are you going, man? You need to go back into formation, please. So we have the militia assembled, and they are ready to go for any potential goblin spottings, which they are spotting at this point quite on the reg. Goblins come from generally a wide range. So as you can see, we've already gotten a few from direct north. We are getting one now from direct west, and I'm afraid there probably will be a few coming from the east as well. And you know, these things become a problem. I mean, we just did about 36 and 36 and 44 damage to kill that goblin there. More coming from the east, far east shoreline. This is not a good and well protected area of our town. However, luckily our people are close by enough to take care of the threat. We have another goblin spotted on the eastern border now, with our archer engaging it from afar, which is good. And a spider. Not worried about the spider. I'm just not. Spiders are, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay, Bryce, you are going to be falling back at this point. You get one hit off, which is pretty good, actually. If I can keep on the edge of their engagement, that would be ideal. I think we also will probably have a few miners in here, and the goblins might end up going after them. So we're going to have to send the army now. I know you're throwing everything at them at once, and there could be more coming from the west, which is dangerous. Very, very dangerous. But we need to take care of these ones on the east, because this is where all of our builders are and all of our miners. And if they get in trouble, it's going to cause some population issues and progression issues as well. Oh, good. Looks like they actually stayed on the road. Fishing cat engaging and spotting the first one. And here is the second one. Now, again, you want to watch your militia's HP as they go in, because they're going to be taking a beating. Oh! Okay, fishing cat with a dodge. Oh, and she's almost dead. She needs to run away now. Wait. Another goblin spotted? Let's just make sure. Okay, so there's a goblin in between fishing cat and safety. That's not good. So we're going to reroute her up over this way so she can go straight into the dock area. Another goblin was spotted by Angelino. I don't know where this one is. You can see how hectic this can become. Okay, they're right there along the backside of the quarry. Militia's in good HP, so I'm not too worried about that. I'm more worried about getting this injured fisherman out of combat now. Bryce is engaging this one. Let's go ahead and make her into a fisherman again, so she can just straight up go to bed and stay safe. Caesar, I don't know where you're going. I don't know where you're going. You guys are slow to transition, but maybe now that this one is finally marked, we'll be okay. So we're just chasing down this final goblin, even though it looks like there might be yet another one down here at the docks. The nice thing about it, when they come by the water like this, they are totally less dangerous, because the archer ones like to just sit out in the water. Okay, watching. Just got to provide a little bit of overwatch. You can see the one in the water just sitting there, waiting, biding his time. This one over by the farmers now, seeking a path in there. Moving this farmer behind cover. Good job there. Okay, Alan. Oh, move as well. Dodge. Perfect. We also have a new goblin being spotted, again, on the water side of things. Okay. Quite the war of the ages. The war of day 123. Very, very dangerous stuff here. We're going to slightly shift all the military units a little bit, and what that'll do is somewhat reset their pathing for a good, favorable task change. Nolan going out on the pier, taking care of this southerly goblin, just like so. Okay, cool. That killed about 5-6 minutes of productive time I could have spent building on this thing. So let's just go ahead and cut to when this is done. Happy afternoon on day 125, and it looks like our final main structure here in the shipyard is complete. Beyond the ship itself, which is going to be kind of the final touch at the end of the series. Simply because something that big and decorative and time consuming, I feel as less important as actually getting some defenses and some walls and a castle and a town and city and church and a whole bunch of other things that we want to make. So at this point, I am calling the shipyard complete, and it's quite the massive complex if you think about it. You know, there was a lot of terrain digging in here. There was a lot of building these structures up from the base floor. Some of these structures are quite tall, especially if you think about just the size, say, from here, the very top of the shipwright building, all the way down to the bottom of the dry dock. I mean, this is a 21 high dig out and build up in this massive square area. So it was a great build, and our town is looking very sophisticated and well off. But we need to move on to the left side, because obviously here is looking great. Left side's a little light. So we're going to be building over the next couple episodes a few structures back here first, maybe these two. And then we will immediately hop into the next really large project, and that's going to be getting our kind of naval fortress and battlements up so we can protect ourselves on the southern flank a lot easier. So I think that's it for Timber and Stone today. If you guys enjoy the series and you want to see more, feel free to leave a like down below. It's how I gauge how well the series are going. Leave a comment if you guys want to name a character. Also, go ahead and let me know what you think so far. So until then, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next episode.